I came to the States in 2006 with my birth mom and 8 other siblings. And we landed in Iowa. None of us spoke any words of English. We moved around a little bit. We got to Fargo. And the relationship that I had with my birth mom wasn't very good. She struggled, and she became super abusive, whether it's physically, mentally.
I have suffered from anxiety and depression almost all of my life. Being young, you get into different scenes, hanging out with people who aren't super great for you, and just running away from a lot of the problems that I had and feelings that I had. I wasn't going to my job. I was kind of bedridden at the time, lying to my friends, lying to my family. Had a really bad relationship with a lot of my family members, and eventually my roommates sat me down and they're like, "Liv, you have to tell us, what is going on?" And my plan was that I was going to wait until my roommates left and I was going to take my own life. I never really wanted that for myself. I never wanted to die necessarily. But I felt like I wasn't good enough to continue on. I had been hurting so many people and hurting myself especially. And I just felt like there was no way that I was going to be getting out of it. And my friends looked at me, or my roommates, and they said, "It's not too late. We can get this figured out." So they brought me to Prairie, and I was an inpatient there for 3 days. I just felt so alone, and being in that environment, I was horrified. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was so embarrassed. I didn't want people to recognize me and know that it was me. And that night that I had gotten admitted, I was sobbing my eyes out for hours and hours and hours because I was just so genuinely scared of what was coming next. And I looked up to God and I said, "God, if you are real, you will help me get out of this. And I promise that I will dedicate my life to you every single day."
A friend moved in across the street, and I started hanging out with this family. My friend's mom had this one rule. If you stayed over at the house, I spent a lot of time there. If you stayed over at the house, we had to go to church on Sunday. That was just the one rule. So I started going to church, and one day I just realized, it's like, all right, whatever this is, all this weight that I have, Lord, I'm just going to turn to you, give it to you, and just got down on my knees and prayed out to him and gave my life to him. And that was a moment really just surrendering, of saying, all right, this life is not mine anymore. And then God did some amazing things. I got removed from my birth mom, and actually the friend that I was telling you guys about, his family took me in and got adopted by the family.
The next morning, I had to go to outpatient therapy for 6 weeks, and I was terrified of that. I woke up that morning and I was trying to think of every single way that I could get out of going, basically. But then I heard a voice in my head that just said, "Nope, today's the day." So I ordered an Uber to come pick me up. And I get into the Uber and I look at the back seat. There's a sign that says, "Hi, I'm a pastor here in Fargo. I've been a pastor for 25 years. And basically just explained his story, and I was shocked. 10 minutes ago, I was just asking the Lord, please show me that I'm doing the right thing and that this is what I'm meant to be doing. And he did that.
As I was growing up, I didn't deal with a lot of those things that happened to me as a kid. So I responded in ways that the world would respond. I lived really a worldly life, even just to try to numb all those things that happened to me as a kid. So about 3 years ago, I realized, man, this is not the life that the Lord wants for me. So I just picked up my Bible, started reading my Bible, and started studying the Word, and really truly started following Him and living out what He tells us to live out. He's still working in me. He's still working through me, but I don't have to do it alone anymore. My friend and I were having ice cream, and he asked me this one question: hey, when are you going to forgive your birth mom? And my response right away, I was like, how can you say that, you know? But the Lord was just kind of convicting me of just like, let it go. And one day, as I was reading, I was like, man, just look at the cross. He forgave me by going on that cross and dying for me. How much more should I forgive my birth mom, you know? And how much more should I extend what he extends to me, you know? And I called up my birth mom. I was like, hey, I'd like to get together. And I didn't see her for 10 years. That's 10 years. And I looked at her, I was like, I forgive you. That's all I started with right away. I was like, I forgive you. And I owned whatever I did. I was like, forgive me for anything I've done too. I've never had so much grace for her till after that, because she just started weeping. At that moment, I just felt like really Jesus was in that room. Like, how much more does he care for her too, you know? He can restore things that we can never imagine in our lives. And he cares for us. If he cares for the birds, how much more does he care for us? So as we pursue him, surrender to him, follow him.
Take it to Jesus, because he will be there for you, and he wants you to come to him. He's just literally waiting for you. He's sitting right next to you in all of those hard times, and he wants you to turn to him. And it's amazing that God gave his only son. He truly found me at my lowest point and said, I want her.